Looking at this photo of the modern-day Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, you see a thriving, light-hearted commercial event. Every September, thousands of tourists crowd Main Street to buy t-shirts, browse vendor booths, and celebrate a local legend. You can see that festive spirit in this selfie, where two smiling visitors pose with a 12-foot-tall, shiny metallic statue. The town has fully embraced the creature as a beloved, highly profitable mascot. Yet if you rewind to the night of November 15, 1966, you won't find anyone smiling. Two young couples were driving near an abandoned World War II munitions plant, an area locals called the TNT plant, when they experienced genuine panic. According to their police reports, the couples were chased by a grayish figure standing about 7 feet tall, with a 10-foot wingspan and glowing red eyes. They claimed it kept pace with their car at speeds approaching 100 miles per hour. The terror in their accounts was so contagious that armed search parties quickly formed to scour the woods. It leaves us with a strange contradiction. We have a string of terrifying monster sightings, followed closely by one of the deadliest bridge collapses in U.S. history. Yet today, it survives as a merchandise-selling pop culture icon. The question is how a town managed to rewrite a very real nightmare into a celebration. This photograph shows a sandhill crane, which offers the most widely accepted explanation for the 1966 sightings. Occasionally, these birds wander off their migration routes and end up in places they don't belong. To understand the visual mechanics of the mistake, consider the physical traits of the bird. A sandhill crane stands over 4 feet tall and has a wingspan up to 7 feet. If one is caught in a car's headlights on a pitch-black road, the light reflects off its eyes, creating a glowing red effect. In sheer panic, the brain easily interprets those proportions as a towering winged monster. As you can see printing on these vintage newspapers, the local media took these isolated moments of confusion and amplified them. Journalist Mary Heyer wrote 10 columns about the Mason County monster for the local papers, publishing sensational headlines that kept the creature in the public consciousness for 13 months. You mix the primal fear of a dark country road with breathless newspaper coverage, and you get a powerful feedback loop. A mundane, misidentified bird solidifies into a very real community threat. This photograph captures the aftermath of December 15, 1967. During rush hour, the Silver Bridge collapsed, killing 46 people. The cause was mundane engineering. Investigators determined a stress corrosion crack in a single eye-bar triggered a complete structural failure. But the timing of the collapse created a narrative problem. The deadly engineering failure happened exactly 13 months after the Mothman sightings began, and on the very day the bridge fell, the sightings abruptly and permanently stopped. Human psychology struggles with random, senseless tragedy. We experience something called apophenia, the desperate need for our brains to find patterns and meaning in unrelated data points. This diagram illustrates exactly how that apophenia worked. The grieving community retroactively linked the 13 months of cryptid sightings directly to the collapse, officially transforming the creature into a harbinger of doom. The cryptid did not cause the steel to snap. Instead, it served a vital psychological function, providing a traumatized town with a coping mechanism to explain the unexplainable. That local coping mechanism might have faded into obscurity if not for a journalist and paranormal investigator named John Keel. In 1975, he published a book called The Mothman Prophecies. Keel took the community's grief and standardized it into a myth. He stripped away the grounded, local context and wove the bridge collapse together with UFO lore, mysterious phone calls, and visits from men in black. Looking at this portrait of Richard Gere, we see the final step in the myth-making process. Gere starred in the 2002 Hollywood adaptation of Keel's book, permanently cementing Mothman's place in global pop culture history. Keel's narrative took a private, local method of dealing with tragedy and exported it to the world as a highly profitable piece of modern folklore. Returning to Point Pleasant today, we can see the economic aftermath of that export. The town leveraged Keel's global myth to trigger what is now known as a cryptid renaissance. This manufactured fame entirely revitalized Point Pleasant. They took a terrifying monster born of hysteria and turned it into an economic engine that sustains local businesses and generates profound civic pride. At this point, the literal truth of the creature has entirely lost its relevance. Whether the 1966 witnesses saw an out-of-place bird, a mass hallucination, or a genuine monster doesn't matter to the town's survival or its modern identity. The legend thrives because of our inherent human desire to believe that unsolved supernatural mysteries can still exist in a hyper-rational, scientifically measured world. Ultimately, Mothman is the proof of a community's resilience. Faced with deep psychological fear and an overwhelming engineering tragedy, the people of Point Pleasant took control of the narrative and rewrote it into a story they could survive.